Thank you all for joining us today in this webinar series on business for circular economy in Southeast Asia, business leadership raising circular economy ambition. And this webinar is organized by the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance in partnership with ARAIBA and supported by Switch Asia Policy Support Component, together with partners such as the Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry and KADIN, which is the Indonesia Chamber of Commerce. And my name is Lorraine Gatlabayan. I'm from the Switch Asia Policy Support Component, and I will be your moderator for this webinar. So before we begin, I would like to just present to you the housekeeping rules, and then I will present the agenda briefly. May we request everyone to please keep your microphone in mute unless it's speaking. And this is to inform you that this webinar is being recorded and will be available to participants afterwards, as well as the PowerPoint presentations that will be shown in the webinar later. And please, we would like to invite you to send questions or your comments in the Q&A. And later on, we will have a session where we will address these. And then please, if you would like to also say, if you have any comments, please raise your hand and we will make sure that we will grant you the access to say your comments or say your questions. Okay, thank you. For the agenda, we have distinguished speakers with us. So we have the welcome remarks from Thomas, who is the co-convener of ACEBA and the chairman of ARAIBA and the senior expert of the Switch Asia Policy Support Component. Then we will be showing a video of the launch of ACEBA. Then we will have our speaker, Renee Van Berkel, who will be presenting to you ACEBA and an overview of ACEBA and the business cases that were developed during the technical advisory on mobilizing business action for circular economy. And then we will have the sharing of circular economy business experiences and discussion to be led by Thomas. And we have speakers coming from different organizations such as the Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Philippines. And then we will have Renee also providing the modalities of ACEBA, and then the closing reflections from Jill Gonzalez, co-convener also of ACEBA, and also senior advisor and former executive director of ASEAN Business Advisory Council. Then we will have Zinaida Fadiwa to give the closing remarks. So now let us begin with the opening remarks of Thomas, who is the co-convener of ACEBA, chairman of ARAIBA, and senior expert of Switch Asia Policy Support Component. Thomas, you have the floor.
Thank you, Lorraine. Good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm very happy that you all could join us in this webinar, and I look forward to getting more people joining us as we go along. ACEBA was launched on the 22nd of July in 2024 in Jakarta. It's accumulation of the first phase of this project, which was supported by the Switch Asia on the request of ASEAN CSR Network in 2023 to mobilize businesses in ASEAN for CE. So we had already developed before the launch a framework for CE and CAD case studies. So today is for the opportunity to share the journey of some of those who have got their case studies and experiences done. I hope this will inspire people and that we can scale up the journey and move forward. I also, in this welcome remarks, thank a few people who have contributed immensely to this project. First, I think the team in Switch Asia, ably led by Zinaida, and I also want to thank Lorraine, who is the expert supporting this team. Fantastic. And I also want to thank Renee, who is the real force behind and the knowledge hub of the circular economy, and some ladies who were experts who wrote the first few case studies. And I have to also owe a great debt to Gil Gonzalez, to get the ASEAN back to support us. Unfortunately, Rifki's successor is not able to join us today. I also want to thank all the business leaders who participated in contributing to the case studies. Thank you to all of you. I also want to thank KADIN and Cebu, Chamber of Commerce, and we're also talking to the Thai Chamber of Commerce to come in as country leads and to promote ACEBA. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining this webinar. We will be hearing a lot, and we'll have a more intensive discussions at the end of it. And if you have comments, your questions, just put it there. And I look forward to continue working with you after this webinar, and let's all of us go on to this journey for a more circular world. And I wish you all success and happiness. And before I end, I also wish you all a Merry Christmas, because it's coming in a few weeks' time, and a very happy New Year. Thank you, and let's start.
Thank you, Thomas. And as mentioned, the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance was launched last July 22 in Jakarta, Indonesia, and we had distinguished speakers who joined us there. And those such as the ASEAN Secretariat by His Excellency Satvinder Singh, Deputy Secretary General of the ASEAN Economic Community was there, as well as Jill Gonzalez, our former Executive Director of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, and also now a co-convener of ACEBA, as well as the Ambassador to ASEAN of the European Union, His Excellency Sergio Rasim, and other partners who have joined ACEBA, such as the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Indonesia, KADIN, and some who have endorsed also ACEBA, such as the joint Foreign Chamber of Commerce in Thailand, supporting ACEBA. And now we have also Cebu Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, who will be joining us in the Philippines as country lead. So we will just be showing a short video of what transpired in the ACEBA launch. And Anne, can you please show the video of the launch?
ASEAN's path to sustainability and circularity is really far from, I would say, smooth sailing. We have challenges. I think this is where the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance, we believe, can be a kind of a lighthouse in order to help our ASEAN businesses navigate the transition towards circular economy. Now, with the focus that it's going to have on what I call the ASEAN-centric initiative, this platform, this alliance, will provide a unifying framework that's going to be practical for effective implementation of circular economy principles for business. It is essential, I believe, in helping us in translating high-level strategies into actionable steps that businesses can follow in order to achieve sustainability. Let me conclude with this. I believe, and I think most of you are going to emulate my thoughts too. The journey we are having towards circular economy in ASEAN, we all know, is both a challenge, but we cannot deny that this is also a great opportunity for us. Today, the launch of the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance, it really marks a new chapter in this journey. The ACEBA Alliance will serve as a vital platform for translating circular economy concepts into actionable initiatives for businesses across our region. I think in a world where environmental stewardship is not just a choice but a demand, I think those who are able to grasp that and who can embrace circular economy are definitely going to be the relevant leaders of global future. Let us continue to collaborate and take part in this wonderful initiative as we celebrate this new chapter for circular economy in ASEAN. I wish you all exciting and successful launch event ahead.
Today marks a significant milestone in our collective efforts towards sustainable economic development in ASEAN. I am heartened by this initiative to rally businesses together and share best practices on the adoption of circular economy practices. In this rapidly evolving landscape, businesses must heed the call to adapt to emerging trends and demands. Embracing green and circular practices is not just an option, it is a necessity. ASEAN stays ever committed to empowering businesses, including MSMEs, and helping them to unlock their fullest potential in the area of circular economy. As we embark on the ACEBA, I urge all partners to actively participate and explore opportunities together for collaboration.
We, ACEBA, as the engine that can sustain this initiative, and we are therefore very glad to be a part of it. It's starting from what we always say, humble beginnings, with few memberships, but these are formidable, very practical, simple businesses which have adopted circular economy in different forms. And we're here to help replicate, give circular economy a bigger voice, and put you in the bigger stage so that we can be more effective in winning hearts and minds. To see real transformation, we want to see the impact on our business and our margins, and as mentioned earlier, the savings that this will generate. On top of the impact, of course, will provide really very good incentives. And there are many more incentives that can be provided to scale. So that's why all the players seems to be in place. It only requires a bit of leadership, and of course, that's where ACEBA comes in. As a platform for not just free exchange of best practice, but really to form what I even call a sectoral-based development program on circular economy, wherein we're able to draw as many champions, as many models, so that we can really move ahead.
KADIN hope that this initiative of ACEBA and the launch of ACEBA will serve as a valuable resource, a valuable network for policymakers across the region, industry stakeholders, and companies interested in promoting sustainable practices and contributing to a more circular economy in ASEAN.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So as we continue, we will now have Dr. Rene van Berkel, co-convener of ACEBA, senior expert of Switch Asia Policy Support Component and the Thammasat University here in Thailand, to provide more information, introduction on the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance, an opportunity for partnerships supporting ASEAN businesses to unlocking diverse and locally appropriate business solutions on circular economy. Rene, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Lorraine. Let me see whether I can get the PowerPoint properly working. Can you confirm whether it's visible or not?
We saw it earlier.
You saw it earlier. Then something went wrong. Can you see it now?
Yeah, it's starting.
Yes.
Okay.
Good to see it.
So thank you very much, Lorraine, and good morning also from my side. So we've seen the video launching ACEBA, and people speaking already about the circular economy. So what I want to do in the next 15 minutes or so is maybe give a little bit of a background on what we mean with circular economy and how we see this as being locally appropriate business solutions for for Southeast Asia. So maybe a little bit less on the modalities of ACEBA, to which we will come back in maybe in an hour's time, but we want to focus more on what is circular economy as a business opportunity for companies in Southeast Asia and ASEAN. So with that, I will start first with circular economy. And I think many people have a kind of an idea that circular economy is dealing with changing this notion of taking resources out of the environment and making products and using products and then throwing them away in some way or shape. So that's what we call then the linear economic model. And then the accumulation of waste is a problem, and therefore we try to move to something which is taking resources, making products, using them, and recovering and repeating this, so that we get a circular economic model. So that sounds great, and when this concept, I think, going around ASEAN and elsewhere, there's not many people who are object to that notion of the circularity. But behind this notion, there's a great diversity of interpretations that hamper implementation and drive also skepticism. So people cannot necessarily agree on what it then means. What are we going to do on Monday or on Friday if we want to do the circular economy? And this has led to some different perspectives which are around and which we should look in the eyes if we want to move forward with circular economy. So there's a group of people who are very optimistic and say that circular economy is basically the only way out, is the only way for sustainability transformation, and it seems to focus on the limited less benefits achieved with circular case studies, and argue that we can just replicate and scale up best practices using market forces and economic policy. Then there is a group which is very skeptical and saying that circular economy is not a circular economy because there's no economic model behind it or economic theory that can guide the transition from neoclassical to something which is sustainable in terms of resource management. And they also, at a more practical level, warn against what I would call romanticizing recycling and other reuse and repair opportunities, and say because of the issues which are the negatives of recycling, that materials get lost, hazardous materials could flow back into products if we don't recycle properly. And then they see that this is basically almost a greenwash and light business-friendly sustainability model. The third one is more an intermediate position where we say it's a reformist or practical approach, where you say that, okay, this notion of circularity has a transformative potential if we just start to think about it, but we need to keep in mind social and environmental boundary conditions. So not all recycling is good. It's only good if also there's some net environmental benefits is achieved. So it's recognizing this strong and imaginative appeal, so people start to think in circles, and the circularity metaphor can draw in people. So with ACEBA, the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance, we're trying to put on the line of this reformist approach. But we also saying that there are then different perspectives which are around, and I put here 4 which we believe are kind of the most common schools of thoughts or theories around circular economy. So one is the ecosystem metaphor, which is basically saying that adopt nature's principles into an economic system. And I put here the diagram from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which is then basically saying that we have natural ingredients, which are renewable materials that we put in economic systems and then can be cycled back into nature. And we have technical ingredients, which is metals, plastics, and others, which we have to basically keep in closed cycles. And then they say we have to avoid pollution, keep materials in the highest possible use, and then also regenerate nature. Then there is another stream of work which is basically launched in the international agreements that we say we have to take preventive action to address potential risks. So if we are not sure whether there's an environmental risk, we should be on the precautionary side. And that has led to what we know very well in the 3R: reduce, reuse, recycle. And that is now being expanded, and we see many different interpretations of R strategies or R ladder. I put here basically one system is 10, which starts with refuse, rethink, reduce, and then repair, refurbish, reuse, remanufacture. So that's kind of 9, 10 practices which could be applied. So the kind of assumption is that we can take a product system and we kind of re-engineer or adopt these R strategies into that. Then there's a third stream of it, which is focusing more on the business model and say that if we take out resources from the environment and make it into materials or metals, and then the products, and then the value of the material increases. So steel in a car is more valuable than iron ore in that sense. And then the issue is that we need to keep this value that is to retain this value and share it between there. And then we talk more about business models, and that's then often referred to as business models that narrow the flow, so use less materials for each product, so less plastics in a chair or less plastics in packaging, then slow, so using longer. So instead of dumping or using only once, can be used 10, 15 times. Then closing, which is basically recovering and recycling, and also regenerating, that's materials being cycling back in nature. So that's the business models approach. And then the fourth one is basically the notion of decoupling, which is promoted by the International Resources Panel. Say that we have to grow the economy, which is the blue arrow, over time, of course. But we need to do that while at the same time reducing the resource use and reducing, which is the green arrow, and the orange arrow, reducing also environmental impacts. But at the same time also working towards having more well-being or wells without material wells, so decoupling of well-being from material pieces. Each of those has its values and its pros and cons, and you would see that in any circular economy debate, these different interpretations are kind of floating in between people's minds, and that creates a kind of a cacophony of circularity perspectives. So, but then drawing this together, I think probably the best way to look at circular economy is saying that's the systems perspective on the inflows of resources into the economy and the outflows of waste from the economy. So I can put that here. We have resources, minerals, timber, water coming into the economy and society, and we spew out waste as materials, waste materials, but also pollution and wastewater, and that causes then both the resource intake and the waste outflow creates planetary impacts. And then we talk often about impacts to climate change, the impact loss of nature and biodiversity, and the accumulation of pollution and waste. And it is really the case that materials use and materials extraction and processing is a major cause of climate change. People are not necessarily seeing that, but it is about 60% of the climate emissions comes from that. And then the circular economy is saying that basically we need to disconnect this flow from resources into the economy and the outflow of waste. So bring the net inflows and net outflows as close as possible to zero. So that's kind of the international perspective, or the emerging consensus around circular economy. Then I come back to what Thomas also mentioned in his opening remarks. We have been working on with Switch Asia on technical advisory since the middle of 2023, which is called Mobilizing Business into Action for Circular Economy. And this has basically been scoped initially around three elements, basically to arrive at a shared understanding of circularity and the scope and business case for circular economy in ASEAN. That has resulted in a unified framework, which I will show in a minute. And we've worked on identifying business cases, documenting business experiences, trying to understand what businesses are doing. That has resulted in something like 80 business cases. I will come to that as well. And then the third one was to engage the business sector and kind of create a business commitment and ambition for circular economy. That is what we now call ACEBA, which was launched in July. So then I wanted to say that with these guiding principles for business action on the circular economy, and I mean, maybe the team can also put in the chat the hyperlink to this document, but it's basically trying to say that let's not try to find a definition which is very complicated, but let's figure out what is the magnetic north of what we should do with circular economy and how business can contribute. And we came up with consultations up on 5 guiding principles. The first one is basically what is the overall aim, and that's the net zero for climate, nature, and environment. So circular economy targets to end the unsustainable resource use, which is the common root cause of climate change, loss of nature, and biodiversity. Then we say that if we want to do this, address this unsustainable resource use, we have basically 3 options. One is to keep materials into a circular loop, so in perpetual use, or we use materials more efficiently. So every time we do something, we require less energy, less materials, or we substitute towards renewable materials. So that's the means by which we can do. Then we say this is basically the third one, responsible business, because businesses are making decisions on products, and with the products and service decisions, there defines also how much materials is used in the life cycle, in the use phase, and so on. And this is basically an element of responsibility as defined in the social responsibility standards of ISO 26000. Then we say the means of doing this is largely by creating circular products and circular services, circular businesses, and that involves then ideation and co-creation. So it's not nothing to do with waste management. It's more about upfront actions on redesigning products, processes, and services. And then ultimately, you might say that these first elements are very much a very strong environmental lens to start with, but of course we want net benefits. And it's clear that if we do anything that we do to de-risk the economy from the unsustainable climate future which we have, it will be a benefit social and economically. But we'll look for a circular economy to give us a suite of potential solutions, and then identify the ones which make most sense from social and economic perspectives as well. So then the second part is that we developed in Southeast Asian business cases. So they are all documented. They're like 4-page documents. They are all available on this link. You can see that on the QR code, but the team can also put it in this chat box. We have currently 81 business cases from Cambodia, Laos, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. So these are basically industry best practices which we currently have. So I have here Phuc Sinh from Vietnam, which is a coffee producer, and they started to use the coffee berry waste to produce then a cascara tea, which is basically a herbal tea or fruit tea, which is now sold as an additional byproduct. But because they wanted to use the berry waste as an input material, they had to also look at the farming practices, minimize chemicals used in coffee growing, so there's less chemicals on the berries left over, and optimization of coffee harvesting, so that only the very ripe berries are being harvested and can then be used for making this cascara tea. Second example here is from Indonesia, Great Giant Foods, which is an integrated fruit plantation, banana, pineapple, and tapioca processing, and then also farming and packaging operations. And they are basically set up a symbiosis system so that the fruit processing waste is used as an animal feed and for bromelain, which is an enzyme which can be extracted from pineapple stems. And then they recover and use of biogas and organic fertilizer from manure. And then this biogas is being used in the industrial operation, the processes that they have, and the manure is going back to the plantation areas. And they've done improved efficiency of use of water and farm chemicals, and do packaging with recycled materials. So a very comprehensive approach with efficiency, circularity, and substitution initiatives in there. Then if I take a few more examples, there's a Cemex Holdings from the Philippines, and this is not a unique case. It's quite more and more traction in the cement sector. So reuse of slags from the steel industry for the production of lower carbon blended cements, where there's less clinker in, so you have a lower greenhouse gas intensity of the cements. Use of municipal and other waste as alternative fuels to replace coal. And then apply also advanced waste heat recovery and advanced water efficiency. My fourth example is then back jumping to Indonesia, which is Wega, which is a company that has specialized in prefabricated, prefitted modules, so modular building that results in the lightweighting of buildings. So you can build the same building with a quarter or even less of the material weight. And then if you have a lighter building, then you can do smaller foundations. So there's a lot of efficiency gains there, and you can incorporate recycled and renewable materials as fillers between the panels that are being manufactured. And in principle and also in practice, you can really also reuse and repurpose the entire building. So there's examples of COVID hospitals that were built with this approach and have already been dismantled and reshipped and created as workers' hostels, for example. So it's quite an interesting example of how buildings can also be addressed and made more circular. The next example is from Vietnam. Then that's an industrial park, Nam Cao Khin Industrial Park, and there's basically the waste from one company is being used by other companies, particularly from the steel plant, are utilized by other companies for different construction materials. They exchange energy and resource efficiency best practice among the tenant firms. So the companies are collaborating on how I have found something for energy efficiency, so you can apply that as well. They have common effluent treatment and green spaces, and they also adopted rooftop solar for some renewable energy generation. Last example I think I have here in detail is Fortune Parts Industry, which is here in Thailand. It's basically manufacturing automotive parts from plastics, and they've already substituted over 80% of their plastics are now recycled plastics. And as they had to basically do some minor design adjustments for using recycled resins, they were also able to do weight reduction, up to 20-25% weight reduction by just using recycled plastics and doing the better design of it, depending on the geometry and the materials. And they do waste minimization and reuse of with efficient machinery. They have the unutilized molds, which are now rent out for third-party reuse, and they have solar and bioenergy. So also quite comprehensive approach. And these, as I went through half this dozen of practices, some of them are large firms, some are small firms. So it's quite diverse. So we just show the business cases just for curiosity. So I mentioned 81. The majority are from Cambodia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam, because that was the initial focus, but we've added Laos and Malaysia, and I think we are here also from Laos and Malaysia first time around in this webinar. And then you see on the right-hand side the breakdown of the sectors. And you see that we have quite some which are in the environment sector or in the fashion sector, agriculture also there. So it's an interesting blend of product design, innovation, startup companies, but also using some of the traditional knowledge and in new solutions for sustainability. So just to come to almost a close, so why do businesses get involved? Clearly, we see that materials, energy is becoming increasingly expensive and less available. So there's a cost savings opportunity if firms use less materials, less energy. Then we see that there's a new business opportunities being seen that some firms which are biotechnology startups, for example, can get into the circular economy and find opportunities. So they have their existing business capabilities, which are now applied for a green niche. We also see some companies that are saying that, yeah, this circularity is something that's happening. Our products are certainly not circular. So let's get on the bandwagon and let's start to identify opportunities where we can start pivoting new products. And some of the others are saying that, well, if circular economy is the talk of the town, so to speak, we need to know what is happening and build up our capabilities so that we can sustain our business. So it goes from very basic cost savings to resilience to new business opportunities as a driver for circular economy. So then the third element of this technical advisory was to try to come to this ACEBA, the Circular Economy Business Alliance. And I will come a little bit later, but I just want to say that it's ASEAN-centric. So we want to really focus on opportunities which are appropriate to Southeast Asian businesses, business-led. So we have the partnership with the Business Advisory Council for ASEAN, and in support of the regional circular economy transition. So contribution to the ASEAN Circular Economy Framework that Mr. Singh was referring to in the launch video, and national strategies in the member states. With the participants in ACEBA pledge to lead by example in adopting circular economy, and ACEBA then works to provide visibility and a voice to participating companies. And ACEBA is essentially documenting and showcasing good business practices, facilitate learning and sharing as we are doing right now, and promote operational tools and metrics that are appropriate to Southeast Asia. So with that, I would like to thank at this point in time and hand back over to you, Lorraine and Thomas, to take us forward for the next session on an engagement with a number of the companies that have been profiled. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Renee, and also for sharing with us the different business cases developed, identified that showcase the potential circular economy solutions. For the next session, we have speakers who will also share their experiences based on the business cases developed on transitioning to circular economy. This session will be moderated by Mr. Thomas Thomas. And before I call on Thomas, we will have short presentations from the speakers introducing their companies and also presenting their circular economy practices. We will start first with Ms. Arienda Atma, who is the founder and CEO of KADIN Indonesia. Can we have the PowerPoint, please? Thank you. Arienda, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. So good morning, everyone. My name is Atma. I'm from Cebu. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the cases in textile waste growth in Indonesia is predicted to reach 3.9 million tons by 2030 if there's no any strategic measures to reduce this growth. So in paper, we try to dig deeper and understand about the supply chains material, especially in textile, and the causes that significant growth of textile waste and found that all sectors play a role in generating textile waste. So we're not only talking about the fashion and garment industry, but we're also talking about the hospitality business, hospital business, companies, and including us as a customer. Yeah, thank you. So in Payable, in our company, we try to implement the several key measures and innovation, how we can apply the circular economy business models. And we try to doing the textile to textile recycling principles. So in our company, we process domestic waste, domestic textile waste to create renewable materials. So we call it TEPTEX or Payable Textile, as you can see in the slide. So these activities actually, we try to reduce the need of virgin materials and help to close the loop in the textile production. And in our services, we have PEPMove or Paper Movement. So we offer an integrated services to manage textile waste, which is we trying to helping businesses to reduce their waste, and we can do recycle and reuse their textile to create new products. So part of PEPMove or Paper Movement, we have UDP or Uniform Disposal Program, which is these services extend the life cycle of uniforms, and we help clients align with circular principles. So we already work with several big companies in Indonesia, such as Pertamina, BCA Bank, Mandiri Bank, and some of companies that you can see in the presentation. And we also doing some community engagement. So we work closely with weavers that we have in East Java, Pasuruan, and also Majalaya in West Java. So currently we are working with more than 25 weavers and spinners. So this spirit, we try to encouraging local communities to sustainable practices, and also we try to promoting circularity by educating and collaborating on textile waste management. And as you can see in the presentation on our photo, so we also active in knowledge transferring. So we try to involve large community through Dropbox program, and also we try to socialization our information to school in Surabaya and also Jakarta. So on the next slide, you can see that this is how we try to make sure that the benefit of these measures to our environment, business, and also stakeholder, which is currently we already recycled more than 120 tons of post-consumer waste, especially in clothing and also uniforms. And we also have created job opportunities in our local community, and we trying to help businesses to reduce their waste and creating transition in circular economy models. And as our business benefit, we understand that this kind of circular economy business is kindly new in Indonesia, especially in textile. But this is how we can strengthen our brand value to our partnership with other businesses. So on the last slide, you can see that this is how we identify our or create our circular economy business model, which is we try to identify and analyze the material supply chain, then creating solution from that, and we try to redesign part of the system as a part of the circularity, and we have to be collaborate with so many partners. Then the last thing is we need to educate stakeholders to understand this issue and also creating solution together. Thank you, Lauren.
Okay, thank you, Arianda. We will now request Mr. Danesh Anandan, Director of RenewCell Malaysia, to present his company, RenewCell. Can we have his PowerPoint, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Go ahead, Danesh.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Danesh, co-founder of RenewCell Malaysia. I'm excited to introduce you to our company and share our innovative approach to battery regeneration, which drives the circular economy and extend the life cycle of energy storage solution. Is my slide playing?
Yes, okay, we have it.
Next slide, please. Okay, let's talk about what battery circularity truly means. It's a sustainable approach to battery management that not only reduces environmental impact, but also creates economic value. Unlike traditional practices that focus solely on recycling, battery circularity emphasizes regeneration, reuse, and repurposing. This approach minimizes waste, conserves resources, and delivers significant cost savings for businesses. Batteries are critical transitional asset in the energy ecosystem. They are deployed across various applications and traditionally have been replaced based on time intervals rather than their actual condition. This practice has largely been due to lack of independent centers for battery evaluation and regeneration. Next slide, please. Okay, at RenewCell, we have developed a unique approach to battery management that extends beyond traditional recycling. Our effort focuses on three main pillars. As you can see, it's battery rejuvenation, where we extend battery lifespans through rejuvenation techniques. This reduces waste and lowers CO2 emission, making a significant environmental impact. Whereas the next one would be Bad Mama. Our Bad Mama tool provides real-time data and insights for better energy management. It also supports circular economy objective of tracing and tracking of those batteries. Moreover, tools like Backtrack and certification like MySTI enable businesses to reintegrate batteries efficiently into their operation, supporting the circular economy. Through this effort, RenewCell transform how batteries are used, managed, and tracked. So we do even provide voluntary certificate who whichever customer who use our battery rejuvenation service. Next. The impact of RenewCell initiative is far-reaching. Waste and emission reduction by extending battery lifespan. We reduce the volume of battery waste significantly and reduces greenhouse gases emissions. Our Bad Mama analytics provide actionable insights, helping businesses manage energy more efficiently and meet sustainable targets. Whereas circular economy adoption, we empower business to transition towards sustainable practices, creating a ripple effect across industries. This is a clear example how we convert waste into wealth. Next. We in RenewCell focuses on SDG 9, which is Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure, and SDG 12, which is Responsible Consumption and Production. Since our establishment, we have recovered about 12,000 units of battery, which has reduced 400 tons of battery waste and 500 tons of CO2 avoided by using our service. Last slide, please. In conclusion, RenewCell is committed to redefining battery ecosystem by extending battery lifespan, improving energy management, and enabling circular practices. We are paving the way for a more sustainable future. Thank you for your time and attention. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Danesh. Now we move on to the presentation of Ms. Joanna Smith, who is the founder and CEO of Okpok from Lao PDR. Can we have her presentation? Joanna, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a real honor to present Okpok to all of you. Just to let you know what the funny name means. Okpok is the Lao translation for East meets West. And our concept when we founded the company was to bring people together through textiles to share knowledge and ideas. So it's perfect that we're here today with all of you to share our ideas and our knowledge. From the outset, we've been committed to reducing our impact on the environment. And we run several projects within our company that employ circular economy activities. The one that I'm going to talk to you about today is a project with a community in the north of Laos with an ethnic minority group called ACEBA. And we upcycle aluminium cans, and those pieces are used to embellish a handicraft. I think if we can watch the video now, this video will just give you an introduction to our production center, which we open up to tourists to come and learn about the whole value chain of how to produce a handicraft in Laos. So if we look at the next slide. So as you may know, Laos is not a particularly wealthy country, and in remote communities, there is definitely a problem with waste management. And so we work across the country with lots of different remote communities, and we're looking always at different ways of how we can upcycle, recycle and repurpose items. It's interesting, in Laos, traditionally, these communities actually practice their own circular economies. Nothing goes to waste. But as the country evolves and develops, you have a migration away from this traditional use of reusing things. So if we go to the next slide. We are basically a textile company, but we run a restaurant, a hotel, and activity classes. And in all of these business activities, we're practicing circular economies. Can we go to the next slide? So the model that I wanted to show you today is with this ACA community. And if we look at the video, we can see that project in motion. Will the video play? Perfect. Okay, if we go back to the presentation. So from one aluminium can, we can get around 70 discs, and we can produce different products from those, whether it's coasters, clutch bags, bracelets, or replica headdresses. If we go to the next slide. We started this project in 2012, and so in the last 12 years, we estimate that we've stopped around 12,000 aluminium cans going into landfill just in one small village. If we go to the next slide. I think the takeaways for us are that upcycled products are really popular with our customers, and this brings greater income back to the remote communities. If we go to the next slide. Finished. Okay, so that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Next, we will move on to our next presentation, our last one, Mr. Jeremy Gatpo, who is the Vice President and Head of Supply Chain of Converge ICT Philippines. Can you please show his presentation? Jeremy, you have the floor. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. And it is our honor and pleasure to provide you with an insight on how Converge ICT solution has been shaping our operations to sustainability and circular economy. Next slide, please. So, sustainability at Converge is really a serious matter. Being a company that is based in the Philippines, so we've been plagued with a lot of problems, especially with the technological advancements of telecommunications. So we try to make a difference, and at the same time to be as sustainable as possible in our operations. So we operate a business that is firmly based on the parameters and principles of sustainability within our needs. So we've partnered with a lot of companies and engagement with other organizations to bring forth that ambition and that commitment to not just with the country but also the nature. Next slide, please. So just sharing with you some of our sustainability goals. So we categorize this as we have the annual goals, and we have medium and long-term goals as well. So some of our medium goals would be for us in 2024 for us to be able to have at least 4,000 seedlings planted within some of the areas that needs to be reforested. And for 2025, we aim to ensure that everyone in the company gets at least an average of 40 training hours per employee for the year. So the 40 is the minimum. So we encourage learning and development for all our employees from top to bottom, actually, from the management down to the team members. And 2030, we have various initiatives as well and goals. More particularly, our zero waste to landfill campaign. So by 2030, we should have at least zero waste being directed to landfill. We also will ensure that at least we have 20% of our electric vehicles. Our total fleet should have been operating using electric vehicles. And at the same time, we also aim to have a 75% reduction in our scope 2 emissions. So by 2050, I know it's a very ambitious goal, but we strive to achieve net zero for carbon emissions. At the same time, by 2050, we should be able to harness the benefits of e-vehicles by employing all our fleets with electric vehicles, from the trucks, from the service vehicles that we're using, and even from the forklift, the material handling equipment. We strive to have EV components being implemented. And as part of our annual goals, we are also looking into ensuring that we have no incidents of corruption, data breach incidents, even the non-compliance to health and safety of the customers based on the products and services that we render. And at the same time, we also aim to no monetary losses as a result of legal proceedings associated with anti-competitive behavior. So we really make sure that our commitment is in line with our goals. Next slide, please. So here's just a brief snap of our approach to circular economy. So we have as an ICT company, we are exposed to e-waste, scrap modems and routers, fiber optic cables, batteries, and all. We also have our plastic waste coming from marketing materials, from packaging materials of our products. And of course, since we are into building data centers and infrastructure, we also prone to accumulate construction waste, and at the same time, the usual general waste. So what we intend is to make sure that we are able to think of ways on how to manage all of these waste in such a way that we will be able to help out in clearing up the environment um, from all these problems. So we had the waste management strategy wherein we have a zero waste campaign. So we ventured into refurbishing, which will be shown a bit later. So we refurbish some of our equipment, and at the same time, we partner with green haulers and recyclers as well for us to be able to ensure that we have no waste being diverted to the landfill. Next slide, please. So, in order for us to make sustainability and circular economy real at Converge, the first and foremost that we look into is the possibility of reusing our modems, since we are producing a lot, thousands and thousands of modems for our operations on a monthly and on a year on year. So we have started this take back and refurbish program. So we are going into the customer's location for those who are no longer with us or no longer subscribed. We take back the modems, and at the same time, for repairs and maintenance, if there are any issues with their modems, we take back those modems, send it back to the warehouse for assessment, and then our technicians would eventually have a look whether it's still reusable. So if it's still reusable, then we send it to our third party refurbishing partner so that they would be able to make some repairs and they would be able to have it cleaned up, not just physically, but also on the configuration so that we can be able to use it again on our operations. But for those modems that are no longer usable or those are beyond economic repair or outdated, we are sending it over to some of our partners to do the recycling for us as well. And so also, we also have this um, countdown to zero waste, wherein we have designated collection bins in some of our business centers and offices. So employees, visitors can just shoot their e-waste into that bin, and we will be using those as part of our commitment in partnering with other green haulers so they can somehow manage it more effectively instead of putting it into the landfill. So by 2030, as mentioned earlier, we aim that we should have at least no more materials or solid waste going into the landfill. So we should be able to reuse and recycle and refurbish our materials. Next slide, please. So as you can see, here's how we are doing in terms of this particular flagship program. For as you can see at the top, our modems are packaged in such a way that it's somehow not compliant to sustainability, circular economy. We have plastics, we have some materials that are somehow takes a lot of time to be taken up in the environment. So what we did was to transition it in such a way that instead of plastics, in new plastics, we are using parchment papers. And at the same time, instead of placing these accessories and components into plastic packets, we use cartons or biodegradable boxes, not just to protect the material, but also to ensure that we are complying with the our sustainability commitment by using biodegradable boxes as packaging materials. So for last year, we were able to refurbish 112,000 units of modems that converts into almost 40 million, 40 metric tons of waste diverted off the landfill, and that particular modems that we have saved, and at the same time we infuse into back into the operations, we were able to save 174 million pesos. So that's and the plastics that we have averted in terms of landfill disposal is close to is more than half um, um, or 0.56 metric tons of plastic waste we were able to recover and at the same time avert this since we are using parchment paper instead of plastics. Next slide, please. So we have some our other circular economy programs. We have the countdown to zero waste, our e-waste drive. We also have the bawal ng plastic or in that's in Filipino. So we don't condone the use of the utilization of single-use plastics within our company premises. So once we collect plastics, we partner with a particular company, our partner, which converts these plastics into eco-cast materials. So they're making eco bricks. So those eco bricks are stronger and at the same time more environmental friendly. So we also pair and partner with Creations PH. So use as we all know, Tarpaulins from the marketing campaigns are usually burdensome in terms of disposal. So what we did was to upcycle it. So we partner with Creations Philippines so that we would be able to reuse it by making bags and sleeping mats out of these plastic materials of tarpaulins. Next slide, please. And also, some of the related initiatives apart from those would be our switch to renewable energy. So we started in 2021. So our head office in the Philippines, particularly in Pasig, we were able to convert it to 100% clean energy, running to clean energy building. And the next year, that was in 2022, our Clark data center in Pampanga has been running as well in clean energy. So with this, we aim to reduce further in terms of our greenhouse emissions, and at the same time, we're saving. We're not just protecting the environment, but we're also saving around 30 million in terms of power costs. Since we started switching to renewable energy, and also we take as part of our commitment, we take sustainability and circular economy seriously by also employing it as one of our assessment for suppliers. So we ensure that our suppliers are also joining us, not just joining us in the bandwagon of sustainability and circular economy, but joining us with our journey and our commitment. So this is part of our selection that these suppliers are also doing their part in terms of saving the environment and making sustainability a way of life for their companies as well. Next slide, please. All right. So that's it for our presentation for Converge, and we are really committed to advancing sustainability, circular economy, not just in the Philippines, but also all the touch points of our company uh, in the global perspective. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. So now I leave it to Thomas to lead and moderate the session together with our speakers, Arienda, Dinesh, Joanna, and Jeremy. Thomas.
Thank you, Lorraine, and thanks to all the four of you. You made some very interesting presentations, and I can see that all of them were very excited about what you do. Maybe I'll just first thank you all for the different perspective and different versions that different industries and the different approaches you do, but yet have something in common that you want to contribute to net zero and contribute to solving some problems. Maybe I would just start off by saying, what made your company or made your organization go into this field of circularity? Maybe I'll start with Dinesh because you are just on the front of my screen. What motivated you all to start on this?
Because we found out that there's many batteries prematurely disposed. So, and these batteries are disposed in an illegal way, such it contributes to environment impact. So that's how we managed to source for this technology and establish something where able to extend the lifespan of the batteries, as well as it able to repurpose or reuse in various industries.
So you saw a problem and you're trying to solve it.
Yes.
Maybe I will also ask Ayanda, what was your motivation to get into with this textile recycling?
Yeah, thank you. So as I mentioned in the early presentation, the textile waste issue in Indonesia is gonna be huge by 2030, and I feel like there's no strategic action that I found lately, which is it is part of my motivation how we can creating something or involve in a small cases. So at least we start now, and we identify that that textile waste sources in Indonesia is coming from so many sources. So at least we can identify one part and creating a solution from that, and found another part that we found out that, okay, uniform is something that part of the post-consumer waste. So at least we can have a creating a solution how we can make sure that each of the uniform can be recycled and utilized into new sources. So we in our cases, we try to how we can make sure that each of the domestic textile waste can be repurposed into new materials. That's our aim. Why we creating this business.
Thank you very much. I think you not only solve a problem, but you also say that when you started on something, you saw more opportunities and you just grow as well. You see more opportunities. So it's just the starting is the most important. Can I ask Joe, what motivated you? I mean, you came to Laos and coming to a new country and making an impact on the people in the rural areas, which normally gets overlooked. What?
So I think, from the beginning of our company, we wanted to produce, as far as possible, an authentic Lao textile. So that means working in the traditional way, using traditional materials on traditional looms. And that means organic materials, naturally dyed silk. And it's interesting, I touched on this in my presentation, how in traditional Lao life, communities actually practice circular economy already. Nothing goes to waste in the village. Everything is upcycled, recycled. They find a new purpose for everything. Even when you pull the leftover bits off a silk cocoon, these bits of silk get used as pillow fillers or duvet covers, that kind of thing. So really nothing goes to waste. So we're just inspired by the traditional way of doing things in Laos and want to kind of help keep those ways going.
Thank you. I think that's very inspiring as well, that you are inspired by tradition and want to keep the tradition. But can I ask Jeremy, what you're a very big company, what drives you to go to do what you're doing in circularity?
Well, Thomas, first and foremost, as a publicly listed company in the Philippines, everyone, of course, looking up to you in terms of how you do business, how you conduct your organization, and how the impact that you are making into the country's progress and development. So we have really the company's commitment based on the commitment that was provided by our co-founders, Mr. Dennis Uy and Ms. Grace Uy, that we are not just operating a business, but we are also doing sort of nation building and touching the lives of all the Filipinos. So not just by providing a cutting edge internet connectivity, but also making our services accessible to the underprivileged and underserved. So having said that, we also look into how our company has committed into in terms of environmental sustainability, social and economic responsibility as well. So
Thanks, Jeremy. If I could just
we look into
summarize what
that.
you said, it's basically leadership. Your top leaders saw benefit and started to increase. That's very nice. I had to interrupt because of time. And because time is, there's a lot of questions to ask you. I think I told you there's some things of interest. Maybe we let the speakers, our participants to ask you the questions at the end. But can I ask you, what is your biggest benefit of doing these things? Very briefly, because we have to end very soon and we're running over time. I'll start with you, Joanne. What is your biggest benefit? Because now the screen has moved. Yes. What's the biggest benefit you think you for the company organization?
I think the biggest benefit is twofold. One, we fulfill our mission, and two, it brings greater income to the artisans that we work with, which is also fulfilling our mission. So that's it in a nutshell from me.
Yeah, that's a great, which actually shows that it benefited your stakeholders hell of a lot. That's really great. Ayanda, what is your biggest benefit, you would say, from circularity?
Yeah. So I think the most benefit for our company is how we can contribute as a person and also as a company to reduce the textile waste end up in landfill. That's the first. And the second is we can create it or promote the circular economy business model, which is it is still rare in Indonesia. And the second is like finally the customer, our society has access to eco-friendly materials. So I think that's the benefit that we feel still happening until now.
Jeremy, I'll ask you a question. What would be the advice you give to anybody who wants to start on the circular? What advice would you give?
If you're a startup company, then as you plan out your foundation, you need to ensure that sustainability and circular economy has always been one of the core of your founding principles. And if you're an existing company, you need to think of ways on how you can make your business sustainable and at the same time be able to serve your duties and your responsibilities for the planet and making things better for everyone, even on the next generation.
Thanks. And I would just end with this last question, just basically to you, Denish as well. What advice you give to people who want to start this journey?
My advice will be focus on businesses that able to reuse or some kind of application that prioritizing repair and reuse over disposal. So this able to reduce the impact, environmental impact, and maximize the resources efficiency. That'll be my short and clear advice.
Thank you very much. On this note, I think we already exceeded time, but you're such an interesting session. I'm sure the audience participants are all appreciative of your contributions. I would stay around, ask you to stay, wait for more questions at the end. In the meantime, I also just congratulate you for what you have done and wish you greater success, more success as the days go by. Thank you. Over to you, Lorraine.
Okay, thank you, Thomas, and also to our speakers for presenting your companies, your presentation, and inspiring messages how to take up responsible business and circular economy practices. We will now share with you a video, the Business Action for Circular Economy video, which was produced in support of Switch Asia Policy Support Component. It highlights selected business cases that have taken up circular economy practices and solutions. And you have the video.
We all share one planet that supports our lives. Clean air, water, food, and a habitable climate are at risk due to the overconsumption of materials. Some businesses are addressing this challenge by adopting circular and low-carbon solutions. Supplying local premium water in refillable glass bottles avoids the energy use of shipping water globally, prevents plastic pollution, and rewards local communities for their water stewardship. Turning rice husk into biochar for agricultural use regenerates the soil and minimizes the need for chemical fertilizers and energy for irrigation. Connecting factories so that the waste from one industry is used as raw material for another industry. Adopting advanced technology and digitalization to conserve energy, minimize fabric waste, and turn waste fabric into new fabric. Making premium mattresses affordable with a subscription service that guarantees recycling and material recovery at the end of their life. By changing the way things are designed, produced, consumed and returned for repeat use, we switch to a circular economy where natural systems are regenerated. Southeast Asia is home to 70 million businesses. Some are taking action, yet more are needed for the circular economy transition. Play your part. Share your business story. Learn what companies in Southeast Asia are already doing.
Okay, so we now move on to our next speaker, Mr. Reagan Rex King, who is the president of SR Mercantile Incorporated, vice president of the Cebu Business Mobilization, Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Incorporated in the Philippines. He will be presenting on supporting Philippine businesses in the adoption of circular economy practices and how ACEBA partnership with CCCI will support businesses in the Philippines with CCCI as country lead. Mr. King, you have the floor.
We can't hear you.
Mr. King, are you with us?
There is a problem with the sound.
Joyce,
Not yet.
is Mr. King with us? No.
No, he is with us, but sound is not coming through.
Let me call him.
Maybe we'll just wait a bit.
Not yet.
Hello.
Yes, now,
Okay.
now you're in.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear
Can
you.
hear you.
And now we can't.
Mr. Reagan, we cannot hear you. VP, we cannot hear you.
There was a moment when we could hear you, and then it disappeared. So some mystery button. Not yet?
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Sorry about it. Anyway, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, partners, and friends, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. It is with great honor to join everyone as we gather for this pivotal moment in our collective journey toward a more sustainable future. In behalf of the Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we welcome you to this important webinar organized under the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance. Focus on business leadership, raising the circular economy ambition. This event could not have come at a more crucial time as we face the challenges of climate change, resource depletion, and environmental degradation. There has never been a greater need for businesses to take the lead in adopting innovative solutions that protect and regenerate the very resources upon which we all depend. Today, I am very much excited to share with you the transformative role of business leadership in advancing the circular economy in Southeast Asia and more specifically in the Philippines. CCCI is deeply committed to supporting business across the Philippines, particularly as they transition to a circular economy. As the country lead for ACEBA, the Chamber plays a key role in helping businesses adopt sustainable practices that not only contribute to environmental stewardship, but also drive innovation, efficiency, and long-term profitability. We understand the transformative potential of the circular economy. In the heart of the chamber, we espouse world-class businesses, world-class entrepreneurs, and world-class people. While we are actively working with micro, small, and medium enterprises, the MSMEs, to ensure they benefit from circular economy principles, we ensure that we are providing our community a more conducive ecosystem for businesses not only to thrive, but will also prosper globally. This involves providing resources, collaborating platforms, and facilitating knowledge exchange, all of which are essential for businesses to integrate sustainability into their operations. MSMEs are key actors in this agenda, as they comprise 99.63% of all businesses enterprises in the country as of 2023, based on the data we gathered from the Department of Trade and Industry. The circular economy as a path to sustainable growth is not just a buzzword or an idealistic concept. It is a blueprint for the future of business, society, and our planet. Unlike the traditional linear economy, which follows the take, make, dispose model, the circular economy is built on principles of regeneration, reuse, and the reduction of waste. It reimagines how we design, produce, and consume goods and services, creating a system that is restorative by design. But what makes the circular economy even more critical today is its alignment with environmental, social, and governance, which is the ESG principles. ESG is no longer just a set of guidelines for responsible business. It's a driver of innovation, competitiveness, and long-term value creation. Embedding circular economy practices into ESG strategies is how businesses can go beyond compliance and actively contribute to solving some of the most pressing global challenges. This is not a vision for the distant future. It is happening now. Across ASEAN and beyond, companies are already embracing the circular economy as a key component of their ESG goals. Circular economy principles are being applied to reduce waste in agriculture, implement sustainable practices in textiles, transform tourism into a low-impact industry, and innovate in construction with green materials and efficient designs. These efforts not only improve ESG scores, but also create tangible business benefits, such as unlocking the new growth opportunities, improve resource efficiency, and reducing environmental footprints. The shift to a circular economy also brings social benefits, fostering job creation in green industries and empowering communities to adopt sustainable practices. By designing systems that are restorative and inclusive, we ensure that no one is left behind in the journey towards sustainability. As we confront global challenges like resource depletion, biodiversity loss, and climate change, the transition to a circular economy offers a pathway for businesses to become responsible stewards of the planet. It aligns perfectly with ESG frameworks by addressing environmental impacts, strengthening governance through transparent resource management, and improving social outcomes for stakeholders. Let me leave you with this thought. The circular economy is not just about reducing harm, it's about creating value. It's about innovation, resilience, and profitability in a way that ensures a sustainable future for generations to come. By integrating circular economy principles into our ESG strategies, we are not only doing what is right for the environment, but also what is smart for business. Together, we can lead the transformation to a more sustainable and prosperous future. So, for businesses to embark on the circular economy journey, they need several forms of support. Number one, knowledge and capacity building. Business leaders require training, seminars, and guidance on the practical application of circular economy practices, such as learning from best practices done by neighboring countries and within the Philippines, as shared recently by Rene van Berkel and other speakers, which are very inspiring and doable. Access to resources and tools. Business needs tools to integrate circular practices into their operations, including sustainable materials, technologies, and waste management solutions. Thirdly, incentives and regulatory support. Government policies such as extended producer responsibility or the EPR law provide essential support by encouraging businesses to comply with waste management regulations and adopt circular practices. Lastly, collaborative platforms, opportunities for businesses to collaborate with the government, other companies, and NGOs are crucial. These platforms allow businesses to share best practices, develop sustainable solutions, and move forward together toward a circular economy. At CCCI, we recognize the tremendous potential of the circular economy to transform the business landscape in the Philippines. We are committed to helping businesses navigate the complex challenges of this transition and create the necessary platforms for engagement with circular economy practices and policies. As the country lead for ACEBA, CCCI has been working tirelessly to provide the resources businesses need to succeed. One of our key initiatives is the establishment of the Environment and Sustainability Stewardship Alliance, a collaborative platform that will bring together businesses, government, and other stakeholders to share knowledge, develop solutions, and drive action on sustainability. This platform will ensure that businesses have access to tools, resources, and expertise necessary to transition to circular models of operation. In line with this, CCCI is positioning itself as a Producers Responsibility Organization, PRO, to help business comply with Extended Producer Responsibility Law, or the EPR law. This law requires businesses to take responsibility for the waste generated by their products, and CCCI is here to help guide businesses through this process, ensuring they meet regulations while contributing to national waste management efforts. We are also partnering with P&A Grant Thornton to design capacity building programs and seminars aimed at equipping businesses with the knowledge and skills they need to implement circular economy practices. These programs will help business leaders understand the economic and environmental benefits of circularity while providing practical solutions to the challenges they may face in the transition. Local engagement Cebu, making Cebu real impact. While we work on a national scale, we are also deeply engaged in local initiatives with Cebu, a province that plays a central role in the Philippine economy. As CCCI promotes our goal of invest in Cebu and prosper in paradise, we are very much committed even more to make Cebu as the model city in initiating programs towards circular economy. Through collaboration with Cebu City Solid Waste Management Board, we have implemented initiatives focused on improving waste management practices, reducing waste, and promoting recycling. One practical example of a circular economy practice that a company can adopt is the implementation of a waste to resource program. For instance, our company partnered with local recyclers and artisans to repurpose our office production waste, such as paper, plastics, or metal scraps, into new material or products. This not only reduces the waste sent to the landfill, but also creates opportunities for community engagement and supports local circular economy ecosystems. To encourage this, CCCI has been facilitating dialogues with and connections between businesses and waste solution providers. Last October, we hosted the Nurturing Sustainable Solutions Forum, bringing together local government, businesses, and NGOs to share strategies on waste management and circularity. Such platforms enable businesses to learn actionable practices, such as waste segregation at the source, resource recovery, and repurposing industrial byproducts. These efforts, while localized, are part of a broader regional movement towards a circular economy. The lessons learned here in Cebu, whether it's reducing waste streams or finding innovative uses for byproducts, can be scaled to other regions in the Philippines and even across Southeast Asia. As we advance these initiatives, let us remind ourselves that the circular economy is not only about reducing environmental harm, but also about creating value and fostering innovation. Together, we can lead Cebu and the region into a future that is not only sustainable, but also prosperous for businesses and communities alike. Cebu is uniquely positioned to serve as a hub for circular economy practices in both Philippines and the broader ASEAN region. With a strong economic foundation in trade, tourism, manufacturing, and IT BPM, Cebu is a model for how businesses can balance economic growth with environmental responsibility. We are investing heavily in sustainable infrastructure, renewable energy, and green building practices, ensuring that Cebu's growth is not only economic, but environmentally responsible. We see tremendous potential for growth in sectors such as renewable energy, sustainable construction, and waste management, and we are eager to explore partnerships with international players to bring cutting-edge sustainable solutions to Cebu. As we look to the future, it is clear that the transition to a circular economy is not just a goal, it is a necessity. Achieving this vision will require collective action from all sectors of society. Business leaders, policymakers, civil society, and individuals must come together to drive this transformation. The challenges may be significant, but the rewards, sustainable economic growth, environmental regeneration, and enhanced resilience are immeasurable. Discipline and habit change are at the heart of this journey. We need to rethink how we view waste, not as something to discard, but as a resource to be reused, repurposed, and regenerated. Instilling this mindset requires small and consistent actions. It starts with something as simple as segregating waste at home or at work, choosing reusable materials, or finding creative ways to repurpose items. Success lies in consistency and persistence, in making these small changes part of our daily habits until they become second nature. The work we are doing today in Cebu and across the Philippines is planting the seeds for a brighter, more sustainable future. But we cannot do this alone. We need everyone's cooperation and commitment. Whether you are a business leader implementing sustainable practices, or a policymaker crafting enabling frameworks, or an individual making thoughtful choices, your contribution matters. As the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Together, we can go far. Together, we can create a circular economy that not only benefits businesses and communities, but also safeguards our planet for future generations. So I urge you to see every small initiative, every waste management program, every recycled product, every awareness campaign as a stepping stone towards success. It is through these collective persistent efforts that we will build the discipline and momentum needed to truly transform our habits and our systems. Thank you to everyone here today and to those who have made this webinar possible. Your engagement and dedication are vital to our shared success. Let us continue this movement toward a livable Mother Earth, ensuring a sustainable and prosperous future for all. Salamat and maayong buntag sa tanan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King, for your inspiring message. And we look forward to our partnership with CCCI through ACEBA. And now I call on Dr. Renee Van Berger, who is the co-convener of ACEBA and senior expert of Twitch Asia and Thammasat University, to give more information about ACEBA and how to join us, and also a presentation on its modalities and operation. Renee. Yeah.
Thank you, Lorraine. Just checking the screen is fine. So thank you very much also to Mr. King for the as Vice President of the CCCI for sharing your collaboration with ACEBA. And I think I want to pick up on your point on go fast, go alone, go further, go together. And certainly this ACEBA is based on the notion that we should go together to go further. And in that sense, we're very appreciative as the co-conveners that the Cebu Chamber is joining us on this journey. You mentioned 4 points as what business needs on circular economy. I think 3 are within our reach or within our attempt. That would be on knowledge and capacity building, on access to resources and tools, and on the providing a platform. So this is clearly within the scope of ACEBA. The other area on looking at incentives and regulatory regimes, that's not within our control, so to speak, but we certainly also look for partnerships and for advocacy in that sense. So I think we are on the right way. But let me just recap briefly what our roots are and how ACEBA will operate. So we've already seen in my earlier presentation ASEAN CSR network as an ASEAN entity, as a network of business organizations for dialogue on social responsibility that's been operating for more than 10 years, launched in the ASEAN Code for Responsible and Inclusive Business with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, and works now with Switch on mobilizing business action on the circular economy. But what has happened in 2024, we are actually progressing to the ARAIBA as the MBHD, which is a purpose-driven, not-for-profit business organization, which was established in Malaysia in 2024 to advance through advocacy, best practice sharing, capacity building, and networking the adoption of responsible and inclusive business practices to support the socio-economic integration of Southeast Asia. And this will take forward the agenda and achievements of the ASEAN CSR network. So we're changing a little bit, and Thomas is, of course, leading that part to change into ARAIBA as the successor, as the host for the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance. And of course, we have heard that Switch Asia is involved through the as a long-standing program on SCP in the region that works on the policy support support component on different actions, on business actions for the circular economy, but also on sustainable public procurement and on extended producer responsibility. But that's a bit our roots. We were then launched on the 22nd of July. You saw the launch video, and you saw also there the collaboration with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council. So we're clearly seeing this an initiative of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council and ARAIBA working together to promote a circular economy in the Southeast Asian region. So ACEBA, just to recap, we aim to be ASEAN-centric, so to really operationalize the implementation of the circular economy framework, which has been agreed by governments, and it talks strongly about innovation and business collaboration. So we are trying to fill that component. It's business-led, so we want to be for and of business. So showing that we advocate for business, but also leave our voice for industry, and that we are kind of showing both the leadership component in terms of the talking on the circular economy, raising awareness, raising the business opportunities. And we just heard that also from CCCI to speak of that, and then match the leadership with action. So on the ground, rubber hits the road. And then we're looking at engagement based on knowledge-based advocacy and partnerships which are there. And when we have this principles-based approach to circular economy, saying that there's a unified approach around net zero, resource circularity, efficiency, substitution, responsible business, the idea of innovation, and looking for social and economic benefit as well, where possible, net benefits. So ACEBA is then a responsibility initiative that has basically three entities. So we have participants, which are essentially companies or business organizations that endorse and commit to the pledge for ACEBA and report on progress and participate in and contribute to the activities. Then we have the country leads, which are basically representing ACEBA in the home country and promote and facilitate participation of national business in ACEBA and take the lead in national advocacy. So we have country leads for as being business membership organizations, and today we have CCCI as the country lead for the Philippines on the call. And then we basically have a regional hub, which is the technical knowledge or the operational knowledge on how circular economy could operate. That serves as a conduit for availing regional and global best practices and techniques and supporting the country leads to provide and assist the ACEBA participants. The regional hub will then be provided by ARAIBA and will be supported by Switch Asia policy support components. So for business, we aim to simultaneously provide inspiration and recognition. So you've seen some, I spoke on the 81 business case. We had some 4 businesses speak on what they're doing, and we hope that's inspirational and it also gives them recognition to the ones who are giving leadership. We are looking at supporting development and implementation of circular economy solutions that are appropriate and beneficial, so that are not just imported best practices from somewhere else in the globe, but that are really focusing on what is locally appropriate, provides potential cost savings and adds growth opportunities. We try to be very operational guidance methods and metrics. And then create a vibrant circular economy business ecosystem, or you might say a community of circular economy enthusiasts and practitioners. And then we will recognize the efforts of its participant business and promote our achievements, best practices, and lessons learned through webinars and things like we do today. We ask the participants to commit to lead through strategy and action. So that basically involves a 4-pronged commitment, which we are looking for to actively promote and advance the circular economy transition in the business dealings, in advocacy to government, community, and other stakeholders. So you talk to your suppliers, you ask for recycled products or recycled materials, or your dealings with government, you highlight some of these circularity achievements, so that there is a more talk about the circular economy, more leadership. The second part talks about development and implementation of circular solutions in products, services, and processes, and other business activities. So as your business progresses, you have changes in products, maybe look for some opportunities where circularity can be enhanced. Can you include some renewable energy? Can you include some recycled materials, or can the product be dematerialized? So this kind of actions on practical solutions. And we also look forward to some communication on activities and impact. It's nice to do things, but it's also good to talk about it and say that what is being achieved in terms of circularity, efficiency, and substitution, and then contribute to the activities of ACEBA, like this kind of webinars and other business cases. So current lineup, we have 21 companies which are participants in that across the ASEAN region. That's not yet a big number, but we've also keep in mind that we were just launched and are really in a startup phase. So we have the partnerships, which has really been the area where we've been mostly working on. So with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council and ARAIBA, and we have three country leads agreed upon: KADIN for Indonesia, that's the main business chamber; Thailand, Thai Chamber of Commerce for Thailand; and then Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry for the Philippines. And you saw also in the video we have a collaboration or an exchange with the ASEAN Coordination Committee on MSMEs, and we have a technical advisory with Switch Asia. What we are foreseeing for the way forward for 2025 is basically that we like to promote and expand the network with communication and knowledge sharing, with learning by sharing, networking events like we're having this morning. We are also looking to continue with business cases. So we've already started bringing Laos, Malaysia, and also Myanmar business cases on the board. We have also reached out in Brunei, and we will reach out in Singapore as well, and looking at maybe publication of some topical operational guidelines. And then we are looking at also looking for the policy engagement, which was also highlighted by the Vice President, that it is important that we also talk to policymakers, and we have the alignment with the ASEAN Secretariat. So regional coverage will be there, with national activities will be initially foreseen in Indonesia, Thailand, and the Philippines as leading economies. And we're trying to be as kind of a lighter at this point in time with on the other countries to line them up and to bring them up to the same level of speed. We will do the detailed programming collaboration with the country leads and with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, and we have then the continued support from Switch Asia policy support component. So I think we could move towards some comments and suggestions on how could we make the ASEAN work better for the circular economy transition in ASEAN. How can we mobilize participants? Do we have some suggestions for best practices or specific requirements for knowledge sharing, capacity building, and partnerships? So maybe that is something that we could discuss. I hand over to you, Lorraine, to introduce them to the final round of questions and discussions that we could have on moving ACEBA forward. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Renee. And Thomas, you have the floor to lead the discussion. If there are any questions from the audience, or any comments.
Thank you, Lorraine. I think we have heard about 6 people make presentations: Renee, Reagan Drax, and the 4 panelists representing the 4 companies. If there are anybody with any questions, burning questions, I know times are really just raise your hands and we'll do this. If not, if you respect the time, we can still carry on the discussions outside this meeting. So I see that Renee has raised his hands.
No, I saw another hand raised, but I can't see the voice from.
Who is that? No, I don't see. Can somebody help me with
Bongsan Kiran.
Okay.
But his hand was up from the very first minute of the webinar. So
okay.
It might be something like a legacy hand or not.
Okay, is it there?
Bongsan, would you like to have the floor?
Sorry, I don't
see it right now.
Okay.
So, but are there any questions we could address?
Okay. I like the Cebu things. It is to I like the word they said, prosper in paradise. I know Cebu is paradise, but I think the world is not a paradise yet. So I think with circular economy, let's try to make it a paradise so that we can all prosper and grow with it. So on this note, I am very thankful to all these Renee and Regan for his very good presentations, cleared all doubts, made sure so comprehensive, and for the 4 panelists. I am very, thank you very, very much. We have, I know time is a bit of pressure, so can I just pass it back to Lorraine and for the closing remarks as well from Gil and Srinaida.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. I will now call on Mr. Gil Gonzalez, who is also a co-convener of ACEBA. He's the senior advisor and former executive director of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council as well. Gil, please provide your closing reflections and remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine. So what are the key takeaways from where I sit? Maybe 2 or 3. One, definitely, once again, we've added more proof that circular economy works and has been tested and makes business sense. So thank you to the 4 beautiful presentations. We have added again additional models and business cases, because that's the idea. The more business case, end of the day, for every commodity, every industry, there'll be no more excuse not to go circular economy. Number 2, the motivations cut across the 4. Smart, number 1, which means bottom line. Makes economic sense to do this. Second, of course, is the more missionary, reform-oriented. End of the day, you want to be responsible companies, not just for your business, for sustainability, but for the planet. Now, the challenges, that's what we need to go into now. First challenge is, how do we make sure that we keep you motivated? How do we make sure that, Pablo, Arienda, you're able to meet your 2030 target of being able to, meet up the growth of textile garment industry in Indonesia, with very much having this key role for circular economy. We want then is your Renewcell battery company. Now with the EV taking over, how do we now handle all these batteries that are being built up at exponential rates, and how do we manage and make sure that we manage them well? Of course, Joanna, your pop talk, amazing. You're creative in, the aluminum substitution, economical, and, very business-oriented, and your fabrics waste management. In fact, what strikes me now is what you mentioned is that you're dealing with a community who has this culture of zero waste. I think if we want to expand, that's precisely what we want to happen at company level, community level, to have that culture of zero waste. I'm sure it's not overnight. I guess by some fortune opportunity, you found this community who had that ingrained. Now the challenge is, how do we make sure that ASEAN becomes precisely a zero waste culture? And of course, Converge, Jeremy, wow. An ICT company, you share with us your savings of 174 million. So that's no joke. It's no brainer now for companies like you to precisely go into that. And of course, Joey, CCI, thank you very much. You are now at the national level, ACEBA. So how do we sustain so that, you get to draw, using your influence, your prestige, to bring in as many companies, not just Cebu, the whole Philippines, into this journey? So that's one. How do we keep you? How does ACEBA help make sure that you're there? Number one, I guess we have to bring in ASEAN. There's a framework out there, beautiful declaration. How do they make sense to you, business, to keep you part of this circular economy environment? Number one, it should end up to increased market. Now, you want to make sure that you expand over time, not just purely out of reformist motivation, but, you know, business case. Number two, funding. How do we make sure that companies who need to have some more mentorship, more hand-holding, may require some technical innovation capital assets to be in place, where do they access those this funding for their transition? And of course, how to address the future of AI. That's another issue that I think which we need to also ask ourselves. How will AI help to promote the circular economy? It's there, the science is there, the technology is there, but they have to work for us and not the other way around. So let me again, once again, thank you. So ACEBA is an evolving platform. We need you to be very much part. Each one has a role to push this forward. We're attacking it at the firm level. We're attacking it at the government level, at the ASEAN, the regional level. Because end of the day, what you just presented, we want to make it ASEAN. That's the bottom line. It's not just Cebu. It's not Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, or Laos. What you're doing, we want that to become ASEAN as a commodity focused, as an industry focused, sectoral focus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. And also for your information, now we are also preparing the ACEBA website, and it will just show you a preview, and we hope to have this launched hopefully by early next year. And we are just preparing it for more information and also firming up our partnerships with our co-conveners and participating members. Can we just show the video of the website? Okay, thank you. So the ACEBA website will feature what it's all about and the partnership in the alliance, as well as showcase the business cases that has been developed and will be developed further in the next years together in partnership with the members of Alliance and its co-conveners. So we look forward to sharing you this ACEBA website soon, and please watch for it by early next year. Thank you. So now we move on to the last part, which is the vote of thanks. This will be done by Dr. Zenaida Fadiba, who is the team leader of Switch Asia Policy Support Component. Zenaida.
I suppose the very fitting would be to start with a quote of Mr. Reagan, where he said, circular economy is not about reducing harm, but about creating value. And it is a smart and transformative part. And today, we feel we took a significant step together forward by developing the common language of circular economy. We began to demystify and internalize the principles of circular economy, principles that were importantly formulated by ASEAN businesses themselves through a course of consultation in the last year or year and a half. Through the inspiring examples of companies, and thank you all the 4 representatives of the businesses who were with us today, and also those which were not, but who contributed incredible wealth of insights and practices, which you can also see on the website of Switch Asia. We've seen how these principles translated into actions, and seeing that circular economy is not equated with recycling only, which is important, but really with multiple approaches, systemic approaches, which are manifested according to the circumstances. And also we've seen how these actions are helping businesses not only to grow, but also enhance their brand value in a very meaningful way, future-proven way, or future-proof way. In this context, we certainly recognize the leadership of the Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and we are absolutely convinced that your role is vital, as the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance, ACEBA, is built on a core value as circular economy for ASEAN by ASEAN businesses. So your leadership sets the tone and direction for this collective journey, not only on Cebu, but as Jill and Joy and Mr. King emphasized, for the whole of the country. So on behalf of Switch Asia, and which is the EU technical advisory program in the area of sustainable consumption and production and circular economy, I'd like to reiterate our commitment to working closely with ACEBA and CCCI. We are here to provide the expertise, to support you in providing the expertise you need, and to support your consultation and knowledge co-development activities. Together, we can ensure that ASEAN businesses lead the way in transforming challenges into opportunities. And it is also a good place to mention that Switch Asia is coordinating a number of policy developments on the request of the governments in ASEAN and beyond. And that processes, or those processes, can benefit from stronger engagement with businesses. And that is where ACEBA and its champions could be of much broader values, also for policy action formulations. As we celebrate your commitment, creativity, and the strengths of your business community, we believe that you are poised to shift the ground, really, truly, and inspire others across the region and beyond. And at this stage, ACEBA plans with business memberships organizations in Indonesia and Thailand, which also provides opportunity to reach out, as Mr. King emphasized, would be need across the country boundaries. And so the ground for exchange and collective growth through learning, exchanges, development of guidelines across the countries is also evolving now. So thank you for being so good champions in this difficult but also so very meaningful journeys. And big thanks to the conveners, to the CCCI, to all people who are with us today, certainly to the companies which are doing this very, very difficult and inspirational journey and developments on the ground. So, and certainly this is a good time to wish us all a Merry Christmas, joyful holiday season filled with time with family, with friends, and certainly with reflections. And to commemorate this very important moment, may I just ask all of us to open our screen for good final photo, which is first photo for many on the screen and also in person. So if I may just ask Lorraine to give us more specific instructions for the photo of this time together. Thank you very much. And happy holiday season, and everyone smile, please. Lorraine, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Zenaida. So maybe request everyone to please open their video so we could have a snapshot of the screen for our group photo. Anne, can you be able to take the photo?
Yeah.
Yeah, please let us know if it's finished. Has all been captured, Anne?
There's one.
All right.
One more. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Anne. And thank you to everyone for being with us in this webinar. I hope it's very engaging, and thank you to all the speakers as well for your presentations and for sharing your insight. It has been a very fruitful event. And thank you once again. And we will be in touch. We will be sending the PowerPoint presentations of the speakers and also a short report on this webinar. Thank you and have a good day and happy holidays.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Happy Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.